Hi everyone, welcome to the first video in a short set of tutorials on generating reproducible scientific papers. Here we're going to walk through all the steps from downloading software and learning how to use R and RStudio in a practical way, all the way through generating APA formatted scientific papers that incorporate data analysis and manuscript preparation all into one step. And so if you give another person the R Markdown file and your raw data, they'll be able to completely reproduce your scientific paper, including all of the analyses, figure generation, tables, and all that good stuff. So what the goal is to merge data collection, data analysis, and manuscript preparation all into one step. And so you have all your data in one place, you have all the analyses happening in one place, and your text is included in that same file. So what do I mean by that? So here we have just an example paper, writing reproducible papers using R, R Markdown, and LaTeX to combine data analysis and manuscript preparation. This is something I just made using the IRIS data set, which is in R, and we'll be walking through this in the next few videos. And so we have an abstract, okay, and the interesting thing you'll see is that here all of the numbers that exist, the number of specimens, the number of observations, and when we get more into kind of data analysis, looking at beta coefficients from a linear regression that I ran, how the figures are made, figure 1, figure 2, which show up as you would expect. Here's the table. Here's figure 1, here's figure 2, things you would expect in your APA formatted paper. These all come from this file over here, and if you look, none of the numbers are typed into the manuscript. They're all drawn from the analysis. So here we have how many species are there, or how many observations there are, is the length of this data file. Here's all the text. Here are the inline pulls from the data. So out of all possible flowers, some number of specimens were collected. For each specimen, some number of observations were made. And so what these calls are doing is that they're calling information from your data right into the paper. So I don't have to run analyses, count the number of observations I have, and then manually type them into a manuscript, which is prone to error. I just have everything happen all at once. So I write the text, and I have my manuscript file pull the data that I want directly into it. And you can see if we scroll down a little further, here's one of our plots. This is our dot plot, so figure 1 and our figure caption here. Here's figure 2 with our bar plot, and how we make the bar plot here. Everything being referenced in lines. We don't have to say as seen in figure 1. We say as seen in the figure that we call figure 1, which we'll call this figure. So everything is happening automatically. Nothing is being pulled manually by the writer of the paper, by the scientist. It's all being done on the fly by your data analysis manuscript file. So if all this seems like a second language, that's totally fine. We're going to start from the very beginning. I just wanted to give you an idea of where we're going, and this is where we're going. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to delete all of my R and R Markdown and LaTeX on my computer and do a fresh install with you so we can walk through step by step. So here we go. Okay, so the first place we're going to start is with downloading R. There's going to be three main things we're going to download: R, RStudio, and a LaTeX distribution. We're going to download MikTeX for Windows. So let's start with R. So to download R, go to r-project.org. You'll get a website that looks like this. And from here, you click on Download R. And then you want to download the closest mirror to you. So I'm in the United States, so we'll scroll all the way down to, let's see, something on the East Coast maybe. Here, Bronx, New York. Perfect. So we'll download R for Windows because I'm using Windows. We'll install R for the first time, so download the base file of R. Go ahead and download. So once that's downloaded, we'll install it. Okay, so this is just click through. I guess I wasn't clean in my deletion, so we'll overwrite, that's fine. Okay, you can accept defaults here, that's fine. And then that's okay, and now it's installing. Okay, so now that's finished downloading, hit finish, and we're good. The next thing you want to do is download RStudio. So to download RStudio, go to rstudio.com. Okay, a website that looks like this. And we can download RStudio, go to Products, RStudio. We want RStudio Desktop. And we want to download the open source edition. We don't need the commercial license, we're just an individual user. And it's free, so that's good. Download the RStudio Desktop. Click download here. And then find the one that works for you. So we're using Windows, so we'll download this. Okay, so once it's done, open that. Yes, that's fine. And now that that's done, we'll finish that. Okay, good, 2 out of 3. And the last thing we want to do is download a LaTeX distribution. For Windows, we'll use MikTeX, but if you're using a Mac, there's also MacTeX, which will do the same thing. So here we go to miktech.org and go to download. And for Windows, we'll just hit download here. Now there is one spot in the installation where we'll have to do something, so don't just skip through it. Once we get there, you have to just adjust one option in the installation for everything to work nice and smoothly. So I'll show you that as soon as it's done. Okay, so now it's installed, we'll open it. Accept the copy conditions. Install for me, my user. That location's fine. Here, install missing packages on the fly. You want to change that from asking me first to yes. If it's not changed to yes, you will have problems later on trying to make your R Markdown file into a PDF. So hit yes on install missing packages on the fly. Everything else should be good. So we're going to install this now. So now I had a battery issue, but we're all figured out. And now that you have MikTeX installed, you should be all set to go. So you don't need to move anything as long as you clicked that install updates on the fly or install packages on the fly. You should be good. So if we just minimize this, you may have to go look for RStudio. Just search for RStudio. Find where it is. I have a desktop app, so just open it up. And we're going to open RStudio. Yours might look a little bit different. It might be white, most likely, if you've never run RStudio before. You can change it to look however you'd like just by going to Global Options and going to Appearance. There's a whole bunch of appearances. I like it dark. You can do whatever you'd like. And what we'll be working in are files called R Markdown files. So right here, this is your R console. So this is like base R. And these we'll go through a little bit later in the next video. But just to show you how we get to where we're going to be working, you'd go to File, New File, Open R Markdown. And you can call this whatever you want. First R Markdown file. And again, next video we'll talk about all these particulars about file types and different things. And so here you have your R Markdown file. And the things that are most important about R Markdown files is that you have these things called chunks. So these are blocks of R code. So places where you'll put your code for your statistical analyses, places where you'll develop your figures and graphs, tables, things like that. And then outside of that, you have places to put text. So you would write your paper in these areas. Now, R Markdown is a default. It defaults to HTML. So what happens is you hit this button that says knit, and you're going to knit this document, including code and text, and put it all together into one thing. The default for that is HTML, and R Markdown is made for HTML. What I'll be showing you in the next few videos is how to optimize that to make PDFs and to make APA formatted PDFs using a package called Papaya. But if you have a website or you just want to have an easily shareable file, the HTML version is really great, and it's 100% supported and easy to use and really great. So what you can do is, okay, this is the basic file that you get with your new R Markdown file. You click the knit arrow right down here, and you can knit to HTML, knit to PDF, knit to Word. So let's knit to PDF. Let's stretch those MikTeX muscles. It's going to ask you for a place to save. So I'm just going to save it to the desktop. Just call it test, because it's test. And now you see down here, you get progress. Now this is a very small file, so it's going to progress really quickly, but you'll see if you have lots of analyses, lots of bootstrapping or computational things, this might take a while. And then here we go. Here is our file that we called first R Markdown. I'm the author, so that's this, called the front end here. And here's the information. So here you can see 2 hashtags is a level of formatting. So this is an R Markdown document. Here's your text. Now here's summary cars. We'll talk again. If you don't know what this means, that's fine. We'll talk about it in the next video. This develops the head of a data. So you have 2 variables, speed and distance, where you have minimum, maximum, median, mean. So this is a descriptive of this data set cars. And then here, plot of pressure makes this plot. So we've gone from codes and text into one document just like that. So this is already the first step to producing what I showed at the very beginning, which was a completely reproducible PDF. And in subsequent videos, we'll go through kind of getting used to working in R, some vocabulary in R using the tidyverse set of packages. We'll talk about Papaya, which helps you format your R Markdown into an APA 6 compatible PDF, and how to kind of put all those pieces together. So now you have the first pieces in place to get to that final paper. You have all the software, you have everything up and running, and in the next videos we'll talk about getting comfortable using those to generate our reproducible paper. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe. That's what people always say. I'll try to do one of these maybe twice a week, and we will soon be up and running making fully reproducible papers. So see you next time.